And welcome to the Comic Corner here on the Agents of Fandom Network, here on Facebook, YouTube, and The Bad Place. My name is Damon. I am your host. Good morning to all of you watching us live. Thank you for joining us, and thank you for joining me very early, TJ. Good morning, too.
Good morning, my friend. Sorry, I wasn't sure if I was muted for a second, but good morning. And good morning, everyone out there in the interwebs. It is very nice to see you. It's very nice for you to be tuning in with us today because we have some great books to talk about.
So many great books. It's an absolute and ultimate doubleheader, as every week now is, as we're just almost a whole year into both of them, which is wild to think about. Let's go over our rundown for today. Spider-Man double crossed. Spidey's in trouble, but which Spidey? We have two of them now, maybe more. Who's in trouble? We'll get to it. A summer hate wave. TJ, a summer hate wave. Ha! Look at that. Puns. Man, absolute Martian Manhunter is incredible, and I cannot wait to talk about this book. And Back from the Dead, and you won't believe who. The latest issue of Scarlet Witch from Steve Orlando, The Vision and the Scarlet Witch from Steve Orlando is out, and we have the return of a wild character that I was not ready to turn the page and see. It makes sense when we get into the story, but you'll have to find out who it is if you haven't read it yet. But first, let's get into some news, TJ. Let's get into some news. Now, you know, our listeners know, everyone knows I'm a big proponent of going to your local comic shop, getting some comics, getting involved in the comic book community and all of that. But I also recognize and understand not everyone has access to that. Whether it's a location issue or whatnot, not everyone has access to a local comic shop. So digital comics are very important in that sense. And unfortunately, with like the complete falling out of the Marvel Comics app, where it just went to Marvel Unlimited, you can no longer buy single issues on the Marvel Comics app because that no longer exists. Really, the only place now you can get digital comics is Comixology/Amazon. And it's not great. It was great when it was Comixology, and now it's just kind of like a big digital mess. There's been some pop-ups, some startups, none of them really stuck, but we have a new one, and we'll talk about it because this one has something different. This one has a thing that is hopefully going to push them over the line. This is Distillery's brand new digital comic and manga shop, Neon Ichiban. And what makes them different? So this is Distillery, which is a comic publisher, indie, not like indie, but a lot of the comic book creatives came together and helped form Distillery, where they do a bunch of very interesting indie type titles. Very fun. My only gripe with it is that they're like in big magazine style, and I don't have any magazine style sized boxes, so it's like hard to put them all in. But the big thing here is, yes, they do have manga, they do have comics, but there's the big two, Marvel and DC, they got them. And that's what I think will help push this over the line. So, of course, it has Distillery books. They also have Dark Horse, Oni, and Vault, with probably more to come because we still are missing like your Image, your Boom, Mad Cave, like some of the other non-big two publishers. TJ, first initial thoughts on this and reactions.
I mean, it's exciting. I feel like it's hard to get like really excited because we've seen so many of these things like crash and burn before. Which, I mean, not like a shit ton, but for me personally, I never had a good experience with Comixology. I thought the user experience was just like very bad, and I just never liked it. So I have always had bad luck with these kind of things. So that's what makes me kind of, not like, oh my God about it. But like you said, the fact that they have Marvel and DC is pretty big. And I mean, I'm rooting for it, right? Like, I hope it's great. So am I over the moon? No, but am I rooting for it? Absolutely. And we've covered Distillery before, haven't we? I think
Yes,
we've
we
covered.
have.
Yeah, we've covered
Yeah,
them before.
I think the book that we covered was either Mirka and Dolfo's book or the Ryan Stegman book that was like The Missionary, which essentially, hey kids, you like Venom? Here's another character pretty much exactly
Yeah,
like Venom.
I remember the Venom. But yeah,
So
like I said, it's cool. Like I said, I'm not like crazy excited, but I hope it is good because right now buying digital comics freaking sucks. Which I don't
yes.
even really buy digital, but I have a lot of friends that do, and they often run into issues.
Yeah, it's digital comic space. It's important for a lot of folks who don't have access to a comic shop. So, and it's, it's nice to always have like your comics kind of like on your phone, whatever, for those who really enjoy that. I'm just kind of like reading over some of the headlines or some of the highlights from this post. It sounds like maybe there's gonna be like the digital signature remarks and stuff that like screams NFT to me. That is like a whatever. I couldn't
Yeah,
care
yeah.
less about that. That's like the bells and whistles type of
Yeah, I
thing
don't
where
care
it's
about that. Do you
yeah,
got the book when it
exactly.
releases or not? That's the like
Yes.
main thing.
The other thing, and I went on Matt Aguilar's channel, which was very fun, and we talked about this. And my big thing with this, which it goes back to the comicsology, back to the Amazon thing, which is just buying the books on your phone because of like the Apple tax that you have to get with buying things through an app. They make you pay a little extra. I'm hoping you can buy the books through the app, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And hopefully it's not extra. Instead of having to like go onto like your Safari or Google Chrome, whatever, onto a desktop
Yeah.
to buy it there, and then it shows up. Because that's the biggest complaint.
The more steps I have to do in order to get that book, the least likely I'm going to do it. And not
Yes.
only that, but I don't know. For me personally, I don't really know if I like the idea of, excuse me, Amazon or Apple getting a cut of any of this. So that's another kind of barrier to entry for me, at least.
Another thing, fans can buy and sell digital comics and collectibles from participating shops. So maybe they're trying to make an own little market with the digital signature remarks, whatever. Again, bells and
Yeah,
whistles. That's very NFT to me. I feel like that whole phase of the world has like we've moved on from it. Thank God.
yeah.
But again, if it just comes down to can I read it, and do you have the smart panel reading things, which is like
Mhm.
really good when you're reading things on your phone.
Yeah. Yeah,
Those are the two big things.
I'm rooting for it, but I will say, even as we're talking about it, there's definitely some like red flags here for me.
Yeah, I wouldn't say that's a red flag. That's
Like I
just
said,
more of
maybe
like a
red flags
what
not
else?
the,
Like
but
it's the
some
bells
things
and
that I'm
whistles.
like,
I'm like, yeah, whatever.
yeah.
Yeah. All right.
All right.
Let's move into some comics that came out this week
That's what we're here
that we
for.
will talk about. That's what we do. This is Ultimate Spider-Man number 18, a little book called Ultimate Spider-Man. Hasn't like taken the comic book landscape by storm over the last 18 months now. This is written by Jonathan Hickman, artist Marco Cicchetto back on the book, colorist Eric Arciniega, and letterer Corey Pettit. The last issue was solicited for what this issue is, because the last issue was a surprise where we found out who Ultimate Mysterio is, and we found out that our good friend Harry Osborn didn't actually die. Spoilers, everyone. You had a couple months to read it. So Harry calls up Peter and is like, "Hey, Peter, I'm alive. LOL. Can I come pick you up so we can deal with some New York shenanigans?" And Peter's like, "Heck yeah, Harry, you're alive. That's cool. You're gonna have to explain that for me, like real quick. But yeah, let's go." So he goes pick him up in the desert. Mary Jane and the kids stay in the desert. Uncle Ben and Jay Jonah play as babysitters. That's always fun. They're there being like, "Hey, it's good to see you again." And they get on the plane to go back to New York to go deal with some New York things while Gwen, who is now Mysterio, part of the group of Mysterios, has to deal with kind of her decision making without talking to the other Mysterios. She went a little rogue when she decided to kill Craven and save Harry. And they're like, "Girl, we do things together. What are you doing?" And she's like, you guys just talk. I do things. So we're going to do things." I'm like, I respect that, Gwen. So meanwhile, the whole headline here is someone was double crossed. Who was double crossed? Well, it was Spider-Man, but it wasn't Peter. It was Richard. Because what can we say, TJ? I love Felicia Hardy. I love my black cat. But it's in her nature to be a bit of a villain sometimes. And she sold him out. She's like, Richard, I need you to come here. Please, I'm in huge trouble. And I guess, she was in big trouble. And he did get over there by sneaking onto the plane. Oops. He is now surrounded by the Sinister Four. Whoever's left.
Yeah, we've knocked a couple off.
Whoever's left. But Kingpin's there, and he's in big trouble.
Dude, this issue pissed me off, if I'm going to be honest. No. I was pissed. No, in a good way. Like, it was great, but it pissed me off. First of all, let me get on my soapbox here. First of all, how are you going to turn our boy Robbie into a Mysterio? I was devastated, man. Did you notice that?
From which Robbie?
Robbie is Reyes or whatever.
Robbie Reyes is a Mysterio?
The dude from the Bugle who works at the Daily Bugle.
Oh
yeah, he's a Mysterio, and I'm like, come on! I don't know why I love that character. So I was upset he's a Mysterio and a bad guy. Secondly, dude, Richard, come on, bro! Like that shit made me so mad, and like in a good way, because again, it makes like I said, it's exciting and there's stakes to it. But I'm just like that entire text conversation between him and Black Cat, I was cringing. And at the same time being like, you are such an idiot, man. So, yeah, that's why it pissed me off. But no, it's a great issue. I mean, obviously, things are really heating up. I feel like Kingpin, I don't know. I feel like he already knows who Peter is, but he obviously needs Richard for something. But, yeah, I like this new little twist. I'm excited to see what our Peter's going to do, because feel like up until now he has been very, very steadfast in the whole like, oh, we don't hurt people, we don't kill people, blah blah blah. But after his experience in the Savage Land, and then his family gets discovered, and then now his son is taken, I feel like that's going to push him, which Peter never crosses the line, but it'll push him close to that line. And I think that'll be really interesting to see, especially when we have the kind of, unbalanced Harry Osborn that we have.
That's true. I wouldn't necessarily say the Mysterios are evil, personally. Just because they keep saying, like, we know what the world was supposed to be, and we know what it should be. They're just a matter of you gotta do the things, which is what Gwen kept saying. It's like, you guys keep talking about doing things, and we have meetings and meetings and meetings and meetings. We're not doing anything. I stepped in and did something. And then one of Mysterio's like, yeah, you know what? She's right. She actually did something, because it's a collective. It's a cult almost.
I was gonna ask you that because I feel like you know more about this than me. She calls that lady sister. Is she just saying because they're like in the Mysterio cult, or is it does Gwen have an actual sister?
No.
Okay.
That's more like in the Mysterio cult.
Got it. Because I was like, wait,
the sister? Illuminati, if you will, which makes sense a lot for Mysterio with like the eye thing, and they're very Illuminati. So I really dug this issue. I knew exactly, we both knew exactly when he's going back and forth texting with Felicia. It's like, oh, you poor stupid boy.
Yeah, like
you stupid boy. Oh, that's such a high school, of course you would never do anything to wrong me. You said you cared about me.
And my girlfriend? Are you my girlfriend now?
Yeah, it's very high school. So
you can't blame Richard though. He's a kid.
Poor Richard.
Yeah,
you got kid, and now you're in trouble. So here's my question.
You ain't gonna forget this one, Richard. I'll tell you that.
Here's my question. Will, by the end of this, we have heard rumors that the Ultimate Universe, at least in its first phase of things, may be coming to an end. Who knows if it's going to end? I think it'd be very stupid for it to end.
I was surprised you didn't put that on the news this week. Honestly.
Because it's more of a rumor.
True.
Do you think, let's say by the end of this phase, we'll only have one Spider-Man? And if so, who is that one Spider-Man? Will we ultimate Peter Parker again? Or will Peter Parker have his Gwen Stacy moment, have his Uncle Ben moment with Richard?
Do you want what I want to happen or what I think's gonna happen?
Well, give me both.
Okay, well, I think that Richard will be, like you said, we're gonna get another ultimate situation. Peter's gonna get killed or something, and Richard's gonna be the new Spider-Man, which I don't hate. I don't hate. But here's my thing: is we've talked about this before. I am very behind on modern Spider-Man comics, and Richard Parker, I have zero relation to this kid besides the Ultimates, this new Ultimate stuff. And so
Well,
for
that's
me,
the
like,
only where he exists, so that's fire.
oh, he doesn't exist in the other stuff.
No.
Well, I know there's like Mayday Parker,
Yeah,
and
there's
like
May, but
they have
Richard's like
kids, right?
the ultimate thing. Yeah.
Okay. So I don't know what you see. This is what I mean. I don't know what the hell I'm talking about. So for me, I don't really have like this like personal relationship or connection with Richard. He hasn't really done anything in the book so far for me to be like, yeah, like so far he's kind of just like not annoyed me, but just like like I know he's gonna mess something up. You know what I mean? Like I see him as this kid who's gonna mess something up, and I feel like they kind of already alluded to that a little bit, which also kind of ticked me off. I don't know what's wrong with me, dude. It must be the early morning.
You just hate the kids today.
I am just like, I'm just on one today. But when he turned invisible, I was like, man, are they trying to make him Miles? Like, I don't know about that. And I feel like that could be a subtle little like kind of show, like he will be taking on that role, you know, like as Miles did, being the main Spider-Man. But I mean, if what I want, I want Peter to stick around. Like I don't mind being two Spider-Mans. I would enjoy if they were just two Spider-Mans. Let Richard have a couple solo issues. Maybe we can switch back and forth a little bit. But I don't know. I'm just really enjoying the adult Peter learning how to be a superhero. I really love that.
I do think there is more to killing Peter and then having Richard take over. My only issue with it is that Richard doesn't have spider powers. He is like fully functioned by the super suit. So he's not like a super powered individual. He's more like an Iron Man in that way, where it's like
or
everything
Eddie
is
Brock.
Where everything is kind of, or Eddie, there you go, where everything is just within the suit itself. So there you go. There's Ultimate Spider-Man number 18. I think we both enjoyed it. Poor Richard. We got TJ just being a Richard Parker hater over here.
All my homies hate Richard Parker, dude.
Look, I defend the kid. He's making high school decisions because he's in high school. I'll defend it. Let's move on to Absolute Wonder Woman number 9. This is written by Kelly Thompson, artist Hayden Sherman, colors Jordi Belair, letter Rebecca Carey, and editors Ash Padilla, Chris Conroy, and Andrea Shea. Last issue, we got the ultimate. I keep doing this. The absolute introduction of Dr. Poison. Ooh, a deep cut in Wonder Woman lore. I know both of us aren't like too deep into the Wonder Woman lore, so whenever like someone who isn't a major villain pops up, we're like, oh yeah, I think I know you, right? Like it's one of those. But this issue again solidifies what makes this Diana special, but also what makes her Diana, right? She's heard from Poison about a potential Amazon being captured in a maze, in a prison maze. And she's like, I don't care if this is a death trap. That is an Amazonian sister. I am going to save her. That is Diana in any universe, any world, any timeline. That will always be Diana. And that's when you take that absolute idea, these ultimate ideas, whatever, of you take like the one thing that makes them them and you change everything else. And that will always be Diana. But so how she does it, how she gets there is very absolute Wonder Woman, where she has the witchcraft, the blood magic, all that good stuff. And she runs into TJ, a minotaur in a maze. Wow. Great. Like honestly, I was like, Yes, naturally. You go into a maze, you're going to get into a minotaur. And who does she meet that is definitely not an Amazon? Maybe an Amazonian woman is still there, but who does she meet in the maze, TJ? Queen
Another
Claire.
Minotaur.
Well, I was going to say Queen Claire.
Oh, heck.
An Atlantean. So we have another deep-ish cut of Wonder Woman villainy antagonist. Very cool issue. Really dug this. Hats off. I just been digging these absolute books. This is like a part 2 of 5, so we're still kind of like chugging along with this story of Diana trying to find other Amazonians. I've been loving this. I've just been loving this. Hayden Sherman on the art, they are great. They're great. I think this is their best work on Wonder Woman so far. The way that
That's
they
high
drew,
praise.
yeah, the way that they drew like Diana's face in so many different ways, because you go back and forth a lot in a lot of these absolute books, but specifically in Wonder Woman, to go back to like a very young Diana, where she is still like the child of Cersei and learning how to do things and learning the magics and growing up in hell. Very, very well done. And you can see the aging in the eyes, but the soul of the character is like still there. If that makes sense between panels, it's like, oh, that was like really well done. I love that. There was like some subtle things there. Again, go back to a lot of things of like Greek mythology, especially in hell. Hats off. I've just been really, really, really digging this book. I think you can absolutely, all pun intended, enjoy this book, Absolute Wonder Woman, without really knowing anything about Wonder Woman, because she really is kind of her own Diana in almost every single way, but the soul of the character is still there. And you could say that for almost every absolute book, except maybe the one that we're going to talk about next, because that one is very different. TJ, I don't remember if you said you read this one or not.
I did. I was literally just before we started recording, I was reading issue 7.
Okay.
I'm catching up right now. I got them right here. So I was trying to get to 9 before we started, but unfortunately didn't happen. But 7 was great. The freaking arena and hell stuff, that was super awesome. So yeah, I love this book. I've been loving this book. Obviously, I am a very big mythology guy. I actually have like a Greek kind of like shirt on right now.
Fat
so
Thor is a big mythology, guys.
Yeah, shock, right? So yeah, I love this book, man, and I think what they're doing with the with the mythology, how they're incorporating it, is something that I have always. And again, not a huge Wonder Woman guy. Have not read all of her stuff. I'm sure people can correct me, but like that's what I typically find me wanting from a Wonder Woman story. And I feel like it's usually more focused on like the, almost Superman type, like hope and all that stuff, which is great. But I really like this mythology, more dark, like, but still having the same Diana. Like, all hats off to Kelly Thompson. And like you said, Hayden Sherman's art is phenomenal. Phenomenal.
Yeah, they're great. I love when Hayden's on the book. I stopped. So Jan, with the shout out to the Tom King Wonder Woman, I really enjoyed it up until like the Absolute Power event, where I think we talked about this, where that just kind of like it's almost like the Nightwing book with Tom Taylor, where you had like Fear State pop in after the first arc, and it's like, what is happening? And then you get away from it. It's like, okay, we're done with that. We're done with that. Let's get back on track. So
I don't know.
still
I
kind of
had
need to finish the first like full story. I know we're getting into like the Wonder Wars and all that we've discussed a little bit.
Yeah, you're gonna Jam and Damon. You're gonna have to catch me up on that. I had to drop out of that Wonder Woman, man. It was good at first, but it just was really losing me. Like with that old dude and the freaking like I was like,
okay.
Right. I mean, like I said in the beginning, I was for it, but like you said, right before the absolute or all in whatever, it was like the 2-3
it was the Absolute Powers.
Yeah,
like, it was the little tie-in going into the Absolute.
Well, I mean,
Power
like 2 to 3 issues before that. That's when I was starting to be like, I don't know if I'm still onto this. And then, yeah, I was like, yeah, y'all can let me know about that one. Simon Arcolette, I think it paid a lot of respect to her.
Yeah. So there
I
you
would
go.
disagree.
That was Absolute Wonder Woman. Let's move on to our last absolute book of the week. This is Absolute Martian Manhunter #4, written by Dennis Camp, artist Javi Rodriguez, letter Hassan Osmani Alao, and editors Sabrina Fuchs and Andrea Shea. This book could not have
Dude.
come out at a more perfect freaking week when we're in the midst of like an insane heat wave. Like, Dennis Camp, how did you see this coming? Because this issue is about the White Martian who essentially took over the sun to create a 2-week long heat wave to just make everyone angry, and everyone's just getting angrier and angrier and angrier. Very obvious symbolic nature of everyone just getting angrier and angrier at each other here in the real world, where we're all just about to boil over. And longtime friends just hate each other over the stupidest things. And the White Martian is literally just there just to create hate and division. Meanwhile, John Johns is dealing with his own shit at home, which honestly really had nothing to like. The fascinating thing about it is it really had nothing to do with what the White Martian was doing, because that was like actual real boiling over. That's what I loved about that. Where he's away from home, he's absent from home, he's not involved with his wife or his kid at all. He's just too busy doing Martian Manhunter things, being a PI, being an investigator, and working with the CIA. And I just loved it. And in the end, it was all just a distraction. The heat, the hate, the division was all just a distraction, because the real evil is not all of that. The real evil in what the White Martian wanted was darkness. He just wanted it all to go away. And it's a buddy of mine in my comic shop. He often says that like Dennis Camp just like loves to make you sad. Man, he loves to make you sad. At least in the Marvel and DC books, he makes you sad but gives you a little bit of hope. This one's wild. Very obvious metaphors going into everything. This is gonna win an Eisner.
Dude, how can it not, man? I mean, this book is so damn good and it's so weird. It is so weird. I love it. I cannot praise this book enough. Anyone who watches this show knows that we are huge fans of Camp's work. Basically everything he's done, we've praised and loved. But man, this is something different, man. This is a different kind of book. And Javier Rodriguez's art is like mine. Every single issue, there's a page, at least one page, where I'm like, oh, I'm gonna make this my background. Like, it's like, it's crazy, dude. It's just, I think it's also a really great example of a writer and an artist just being like so in tune with each other. I feel like the crazy visuals that Rodriguez is coming up with, paired with this weird meta social commentary type story, it's just like they are just on the same, they're firing on the same level. And it's just like you said, this is an Eisner winner book for me. This is something that is not like pretty much anything else on the shelves right now. Like, it is, to me, very unique in the way that it tells the story, it shows the story, and like I love it, man. I love it. I could just make this whole episode about Martian Manhunter.
Dennis Camp is never subtle about his metaphors and thought and all of that stuff. Like, he's just never subtle with it. Analogies is what I was trying to say. And he doesn't have to be, because he found a way to make Martian Manhunter a very like wild sci-fi character in DC lore. Put a crazy twist on the Martian Manhunter itself in this book, because we said earlier, it's like, what is like the one thing about like that character, and you keep that one thing and change everything else. And this is just like so beyond different and everything in every regard, in every way. It's just so well done. making you care about just like the people of this town in the middle of nowhere by just giving you like a little snippet of their lives and the hate that goes on. It's a very Marvel thing right outside your window, but done in a very DC way where it is so science fiction,
Hmm.
but it doesn't disconnect me from it. It actually makes me feel it more in a way. It's so well done. I cannot praise this book enough. Neither can you. This was like, in my
It's my
opinion, the best book of
favorite.
the week. This is the best book of the week. And you know I love Ultimate Spider-Man. I almost always pick Ultimate Spider-Man.
I'll say that's crazy you picked this over Ultimate Spider-Man.
Yeah,
I don't think if there's an Ultimate Spider-Man, I don't think there's been a week it hasn't been your favorite.
it's
Yeah.
true. Probably. Yeah, honestly, it's probably true. And I think this book is just incredible. So go read it, especially when the trade comes out for it. This is going to go down as the pinnacle of work of 2024, 2025 in the DC world. And that goes with the absolute Batmans, the absolute Supermans, the absolute Wonder Womans. I think this is going to be like the definitive book of like the absolute era.
It's just I I gotta stop myself because
That's
I'll just keep
if
talking.
he sticks to landing. That's if he's like if
Yeah,
it completely washes out, it'll be the biggest shame. But if Denny sticks to landing, like this to me will be the definitive book of like the absolute DC era.
agreed. 100% agree. And I cannot wait to get like a big oversized edition of it, or because this book just begs to be in like a big. What do they even call those? I don't even know. Like the Demon Days, the Peach Momoko one.
Oh, like the coffee table books.
Yeah, like a
Yeah.
bit, dude. Oh man, we need to leverage some of our connections here and get Camp on the show, man. Because I need to delve into that weird ass mind of his, man.
And it's just so good and everything it does, whether it's the Ultimates, the Martian Manhunter, all his indie books as well, just fantastic.
This is
I
the
want to get into a book that I know you love. I haven't been
yes.
able to get on this train yet, but it's with a writer that we both
Missing
enjoyed.
out.
This is written by Philip Kennedy Johnson. This is The Incredible Hulk. And golly, you've been telling me body horror. Look at that cover. This is from artist Kev Walker, colorist Matt Wilson, letter Corey Pettit, and editors Kate McGahee and Jordan D. White. For those in chat who don't know what's been going on in this book, quickly catch them up and what happens in this wild issue.
Dude, Hulk fighting monsters. That's like basically all you need to know. Almost every single issue, Hulk and his new little sidekick Charlie Tisdale are going around America fighting the creepiest, scariest monsters that you could ever imagine or ever find. And Charlie has recently become the new, I guess you could say, avatar, if you would, of a ancient monster. I think Lycan. It's basically like a werewolf type thing with wings. So now she's a monster too. And this issue it's kind of a middle of the road type of issue. So we just had this kind of big whole thing where again this Charlie becomes this monster. She's all for it. She loves being a monster. But Hulk's like, "Yo, sometimes it can't be that great." And so this issue we see Charlie kind of come to the realization of like what being a monster really means, and like monsters are monsters, and she sees the kind of darker sides to Hulk. And we get a little cameo of our boy Bucky, our good old boy Bucky. So nothing really happens too much to progress the story. It's more of a, like I said, I'm blanking on the word, but kind of a background issue to just give us a little bit more into where our characters are at, like mentally. And I'll tell you what, things are not looking good for dear old Dr. Banner. That's basically the whole thing is Hulk and Banner are more separate than they ever have been. Banner is trapped in the Hulkscape, which is this crazy thing that we see here on the cover here. But it's so good, man. Like I said, if you like Hulk being a freaking monster and just crazy fighting other crazy, scary monsters, I mean, I don't know how you can't like it. It's got everything for you.
Who's the real king of monsters, TJ? Hulk or Godzilla?
Hulk. Hulk's strongest. Always.
Hulk strongest. I think
I'll
they did just do Hulk versus Godzilla, did they
say
not?
probably they're
I
doing
think
all
that
sorts of
just
crazy
happened.
stuff. Yeah, that DC's fighting Godzilla, Marvel's fighting Godzilla. We just fight they're fighting the aliens right now.
Oh yeah.
The nostalgia, baby. It's the number one selling thing.
Always, can never
But
get
yeah,
off the member berries.
Hulk is awesome. So freaking good. Bucky has one line in here that I really loved. He says that Hulk without Banner is just a monster, and Banner without Hulk is just a scientist. And like you cannot have one without the other. If Hulk doesn't have Banner, it will be very bad for everybody. So I just think the way that Phil Kennedy Johnson is playing with the idea of what it means to have this monster inside of you and like constantly trying to fight that off. A plus work. A plus work, PKJ. Love you, man.
It's always great when you kind of go back to the basics of the Hulk, and that is the basics of the Hulk. It's fighting off that monster inside of you and what that means for yourself and everyone around you. I want to get into very quickly. This is the Vision and the Scarlet Witch. Number 2 from Steve Orlando, artist Lorenzo Tometa, colorist Ruth Redman, and letterer Travis Lanham, editors Sydney Stubbs and Alana Smith. We joke about it a lot. I won't get into it. But yes, this is number 2. But in reality, this is like issue 34 of Steve Orlando's Scarlet Witch saga because we just have to continuously reset it. And it makes telling people's reading recommendations for things very challenging. It's very challenging. However, as I say in the comic shop every week, thank God for Steve Orlando because it really feels like he's one of the few people at Marvel who truly give a damn about the Scarlet Witch, about Wanda Maximoff. And it's good because it's a character that really deserves it. She has a very diehard fan base who I love to get them to read these books month in, month out. And this is not a flashback. This is a bit of like a long-term pull type story between the Vision and Scarlet Witch. Yes, at one point they were married, like in the West Coast Avengers days. And way back then, they even had a villain together that was the Grim Reaper, who has returned. But didn't he die? Yeah, he dies all the time. He was the Grim Reaper. It's kind of one of his things. It's Marvel Comics. People die and come back, but he's stronger than ever. And in the current Scarlet Witch lore, she is the owner of the Emporium, which is like a little magic witch shop where she helps the good people of like the Hudson River Valley come on in, help them with their problems. But she has one magic red door that someone will enter through the door if only the Scarlet Witch can solve their problem. That was essentially the first entire volume of books. And now, TJ, flash forward essentially 2 years. There's these black doors popping up. What's going on with these black doors? And there's these people saying behind the black door, you'll see someone you love or miss very much who's been dead. And you can finally see them again. But the plot twist is you go through that door and you ain't coming back. So what's going on with that? And it turns out the Grim Reaper, along with some very magical, very big ethereal gods, helped him create this power to create evil versions of Wanda's door to take their souls, almost lure them in a bit, like like a little anglerfish, right? So I said someone is back from the dead, which naturally is bound to happen when you deal with these evil black doors who have someone dead behind them. Who do you think it is, TJ? Did you read it? Yes or no? You can nod. You did. Are you surprised that we have the return of Vision's son, Vin, who died a long time ago in Tom King's Vision book?
I was just about to say, he died in King's Vision run,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
I mean, I'll tell you what, I was not expecting that for sure.
Nope.
Do you think this is a little what do the kids say these days? MCU synergy?
No, I don't, because I don't think we're ever getting Vin. The synergy part is making Vision white. Now,
True.
the funny thing about this version of White Vision is that in previous iterations, everyone says, yes, he's more robotic. He's more He's less emotion. But this version is the opposite. So why is Vision white now? It's because he died. The Grim Reaper killed him, and Wanda, who's God, like just can do whatever she wants, literally brought him back to life. But because there's magic involved, nothing is ever perfect, and made him the White Vision. And this version of the White Vision makes him feel emotions 10 times more. So she literally had to put him into a timeout room for like 3 pages for him to calm the hell down because he's just feeling everything. So yes, Vin is back. That's the only MCU like kind of like nod I say is
I
that
was
we
just
get the White
asking just
Vision.
because it seems like such a random person
I
to
don't.
bring back. But I mean, Orlando loves the deep cut, so it's not
Yeah.
surprising as well.
It doesn't. It's not uber surprising to me either because Viv had played a role in this issue previously. The only other one would have been Virginia, which was his wife, and that she would have come back. So
That would
in
be
reality, it's either that or Sparky. That would have been that would have been more
Yo, justice for
MCUification.
Sparky, dude. Come on now. Come on, Steve. I
That
honestly I wouldn't be surprised if we got the whole family.
it
Get
may
the
be,
wife in there. Why not?
maybe. So I don't think Vin is back for good. I actually would not be shocked if, like, in the next issue, we do see Virginia and we kind of get like the whole family coming back together. But a lot of it, you're already seeing some things here about grief in this book already, set 2 issues in. So I feel like this story will just kind of be like a commentary on grief, not so much letting go, but remembering the ones you lost. So I've been enjoying this. Wanda's uber powerful, but you have some very nice connections with family, with Vision. White Vision's back, much different White Vision. I've been enjoying it. Thank you, Steve Orlando, for giving a shit. That's all I'll say as a Scarlet Witch fan.
Yes, thank you. Steve Orlando's great, man. I love his work. I do you think? I mean, I would hope so. You think we'll get an omnibus of all these, like 10 different Scarlet Witch runs?
Maybe,
Because that would be
maybe.
amazing. Because, like we said, it's like it is the same story. Like there's
Oh
no
yeah.
reason for them to be separate series. So I would personally really love all of them to just be in a collection together. I
Mhm.
think that like I love the story already, but I think that would make it like even better.
Yeah, I
Got
think
some
someday I will.
race
I think
cars
someday I
outside,
will.
man.
I was wondering if you could hear that. There's weed whackers outside my window, which is just hilarious timing. What isn't a weed whacker? That was a transition. Is Mine Arcana, number 8 from Boom Studios. This is written by Jeff Lemire, artist Letizia Cadnici, colors Patricio Del Pecce, letter Steve Wands, and editors Maya Bollinger, Matt Gunn, and Eric Harburn. I'm gonna try not to get emotional, like talking about this book, because we often say, we discussed it in previous weeks, how important it is to have analogies and metaphors in X books, like in X-Men books. It's important that like these characters are an analogy for insert thing here. It's important that it is a metaphor for discrimination. But it's just as important that a character isn't just an analogy or a metaphor of being a trans person, trans individual. It's important that you just straight up have them be that thing. And you tell that story straight up. And that's what Jeff Lemire did here. That's what Jeff Lemire did here. It's emotional. It's very few pages. It's simple and you understand. So essentially, Teresa, who is the daughter of the town psychic, she's always kind of hated tarot and all that stuff. Turns out she kind of has psychic superpowers in a way. She's very in tuned when she touches a tarot card and touches an individual. She can literally see their future or see their past. Like she is in tune with it and she hates that, but now she's finally accepted it. So this is the first day of her reopening her mother's psychic shop. And no one really comes in until the very end when, as Teresa said, a little goth psych kid kind of comes in and is just kind of like interested in tarot. And she asks this kid, I was like, hey, all right, let's kind of come on in. You see that the kid has been self-harming themselves and goes through the reading. And it's powerful. The images are powerful. And it's just so well done. Letizia Cadnici. So usually Jeff Lemire does the art for this book. Letizia came in like the last 2 issues. I don't know if she's going to be the artist going forward. And so far, at least the last few issues, it seems like she is. But she's really taken a hold of Jeff's style. So it doesn't feel janky at all. Like the transition between the two isn't weird, which is always important. And we say that. It's just so well done. I cannot emphasize enough how important it is to just have a story be about that thing. Whatever that thing is, it could be racism, could be a trans individual, it could be anything. It's just important to have that story be about that thing. And Jeff Lemire did that here, and Letizia's art was very powerful. So thank you, because this was a great issue. I think this may be my favorite issue of this book, and I've really liked this book.
I love that. Excuse me. I absolutely love that. We've talked about this before, but I'm a very firm believer in I don't want things to be subtle. Like if you got something to say it. And like, you know, don't get me wrong, I appreciate the, you know, times where we get like you were saying, I'm blanking on the right words here, but like parallels or like the symbolism, like representing this, you know, idea or whatever. But it's like you said, like, no, like if you're trying to make a story about someone who is trans or, you know, whatever, then just do that story. Like it doesn't like stop beating around the bush. And I love that. I can't wait to read this issue now that I know what it's about. And I just really appreciate when writers do that. And to bring it back to what we were talking about, Denise Camp, like that's what I love about his work is it's not subtle. It's like he is saying what he means, whether you want to hear it or not. And so, like I said, I love that. I love that Lemire did not try and, you know, make it all just like symbolism and all that stuff. Like you said, he told the story he's trying to tell and did not pull away from it. And I cannot applaud that enough. I think we need more of that. I think more writers need to be willing to, you know what I mean? You all right there?
No, it's gone more from Weed Whacker outside straight to Jackhammer. So continue, please.
Oh, well, yeah. Make a long story short, I really appreciate that. That's something that I know is very important to me and a lot of people in this comic book community. So more of that, please. And thank you for, you know, Jeff Lemire and I'm going to butcher the last name, artist Cadanici.
Thank you.
Yeah, Cadanici. Ah, got it. Thank you. I appreciate it. Like I said, I'm excited to check this out.
It's important too because it leaves Fawn, which is the character that Teresa meets, the little goth sidekick. It leaves Fawn in a very positive, hopeful place by the end of the issue. And I remember what you were saying very early on in this series, which is Teresa is not a very likable character. She is hard. She is grumpy. She's intentionally not likable. John Constantine to an umpteenth, if you will.
I say, right? But that's what I like about her, though.
So it's important to have these moments with her where she sits down and shows some compassion. And she absolutely does here. And also just go back on how important it is to just show and say the thing. We also both recognize how important it is just for some things to be analogies, because sometimes the topics are very, very hard. My favorite character in the last year or so, you know, is Magic. She is literally a metaphor for being abused as a child. She is literally a metaphor to losing your childhood and being forced to grow up within a second. Because I'm not going to say exactly what, because I don't want us to get demonetized, but you can imagine what that is. And it's a horrible, horrible thing, but that's the metaphor that she is. And it's important to have those metaphors, but at the same time, in a more mature book like this one is, to just say the thing, to show the thing, to be the thing. Hats off to Jeff Lemire. I've really been enjoying this book. He said this was a love letter to Vertigo Comics of his youth. Vertigo Comics was never afraid to tackle these issues. Never afraid. And that's what this book is. So, on that note, let's talk about some books for next week. I only have 4 books. Start off with our Boom book, since we just came off a Boom book. Grimm, number 23. This has turned into a quarterly book because Stephanie Phillips is a very busy woman. And I've been loving this book so much. Has flashes of... I can't even say it. It has flashes of a world, if you like analogies and metaphors, but of like unreal concepts of like time, an individual being time, an individual being death. If you like that idea, you will love this book. It is great. It's about a girl who is a part of a society, if you will, of Grim Reapers. But unfortunately, people stopped dying because death died. What happens when death dies? People stop dying, and now the Grim Reapers are going crazy. So it's wild. I think at one point, TJ, we talked about how there's a character who is life, and the Herald of Life's name is Harold. So Harold the Herald. It's great. 10 out of 10.
Harold the Herald.
Also, Ultimate Wolverine. You know how much I enjoy Ileana Rasputin, how much I enjoy Magic. It seems like she's playing a big part in this next issue. To Limbo we go with very evil Ultimate Magic. She's also in X-Men number 19. And on the DC side, Birds of Prey number 23 is rocking and rolling. TJ, do you have more than 4 books next week?
I think I do. Hold on. Sorry, I was just trying to see Captain Planet. I was like, I haven't seen
that's
Captain
a book.
Planet. Yeah, I was like, I haven't seen it come out recently. I'm trying to see. But
I'll look that up while you look at your polls.
Let's see. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I got 6. I got you beat by 2. Absolute Green Lantern number 4, which I still need to read number 3. And we've talked. 3, I think, is going to decide if I'm keeping up with it or not for me. Avengers 28, Daredevil number 23, two titles I am very, very behind on. Immortal Thor 25, my boy. Shout out Al Ewing. I don't know how I feel about this whole dying thing. Feels like a gimmick to me, but we'll see when it comes. And Ultimate Wolverine number 7, of course, and X-Men number 19. But yeah, so I got you beat by 2.
Are we gonna Doctor Strange this thing and Thor's gonna die for like 4 seconds, but because he died for 4 seconds, Loki becomes King of Asgard?
I mean, let's all be fucking for real here. Thor is not going anywhere. We know that. So that's why it's like the whole death thing. It's like, okay,
he's gonna be dead for like 4 seconds, not even like a whole page.
Yeah,
but
even if he is
because
dead,
of a technicality.
Yeah, even if he is like dead, like they kill him, he's gonna be like a freaking Asgard ghost or something. Like again, it's Thor. Like that's like saying like, oh, they're gonna kill Captain America and he's never gonna come back. Like that's obviously not gonna happen. So I don't know. Like I said, I love the series, but sometimes things like this can like feel very gimmicky to me, similar to the whole, oh, we have to make it a number 1 just because. So we'll see. But I have faith in Al.
Captain Planet number 2 dropped on June 4th. Number 3, July 23rd.
What? So we missed it?
On July 23rd, we're going to have to go back and redo the last 2 issues.
I'll say a 2-3 review on that one because I can't believe we missed it.
I guess so. Something happens. Maybe got busy. Maybe that was one of the weeks where you weren't here.
Maybe. I don't know.
Awesome.
Stupid. Stupid.
All right, that'll do it for this issue. The Comic Corner. As always, thank you all for watching us live jam. Will,
Shout out Jam,
TJ,
baby.
Emma, thank you all for popping into the live chat. Much appreciated to you all. We will be back next week. Talk some more comics. Spoiler alert. Comics will be read. Make sure, as always, to go check out your local comic shop. Go to comicshoplocator.com to find the nearest comic shop near you. And until next time, everyone, take care.